A legend finally gets his number retired. Let's talk about it in this podcast today. Welcome back to another podcast here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel. My name is Greg. I am your host, and this channel is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, please make sure that you have subscribed, and when you do, also hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. Hey, if you want to support this channel, there you can do so in so many ways. One way is you can become a member of the channel. It's real easy. Just go to YouTube and sign up as a member. Memberships are very low. I think they're $1.99. But we hope to bring you some very good members only content, early releases of videos, that sort of thing. So be on the lookout for that. Other ways, you can visit our partner at Mint Mobile, who wants to save you a ton of money on your wireless bill. Check them out.
Have you ever thought to yourself, why in the is my wireless cell phone bill so high? What are you paying all of that money for? Well, at Mint Mobile, you can get all of those features for a fraction of the cost. They are built on the nation's largest 5G network, and they keep their costs low because they directly sell to you. Switching to Mint Mobile is so easy. It took me less than 15 minutes using Mint Mobile's eSIMs card. And if you don't have an eSIMs card with your cell phone, just get in touch with Mint Mobile and they'll send you a SIMs card through the mail absolutely free. Big Wireless wants you to think that they are the only game in town, but let's send them packing. Switch to Mint Mobile today. Go to our link down at the bottom in the description. Try mintmobile.com/maniacs to get started today. And get this special offer for new customers. Get any plan on Mint Mobile for $15 a month. That's right, $15 a month for any plan on Mint Mobile, but you gotta act now. Now let's get back into the podcast.
Mint Mobile can save you a lot of money on your wireless cell phone bill, so please go to the link, go to the description, check them out. You won't be dissatisfied, I guarantee it. So the Washington Commanders, they're finally starting to do something that I think the past ownership regime just failed tremendously at. Excuse me, and that is just really bringing back and inviting the legends, the retired players back to the fold and showing them the respect that they deserve. And there's one that certainly should have a lot of respect. That's Darrell Green. You know, Darrell Green, I think he was one of the players that pretty much after a while, he checked out. He said didn't like the ownership, didn't like the direction of the franchise, and so he was fine kind of separating himself from the franchise. But now that we have new ownership, and obviously we're starting to see that they're trying to do everything they possibly can to reverse the fortunes of this franchise and bring them back to something respectful. Well, it's bringing back guys like Darrell Green, and it is honoring Green. I think Art Monk probably. I think his number should be retired as well. But Darrell Green's 28 will not be donned on any other player in the future. I think this is a fantastic move. Darrell Green spent 20 years in the league, all with the Washington Redskins. And that is almost unheard of, right? I mean, even Tom Brady went to another team. So he didn't spend all of his years in New England. But Darrell Green spent all of his years in Washington. And I remember when Marty Schottenheimer came in, kind of didn't, this was the tail end of the career for Darrell Green. And yeah, I know a lot of us fans were highly upset with Schottenheimer for kind of reducing the role a little bit, kind of moving Green more into, for what I remember, it's been a while, but honestly, Schottenheimer knew that Darrell Green wasn't as effective as he once was, but he was still effective. That was the thing. He was probably at 50%, and I don't think he was ever playing at 50%. Maybe 70%, but even at 70%, he was still just as good as over half of the cornerbacks in the league. But Schottenheimer wanted to, of course, bring in some younger guys. He knew that time was winding down for Darrell Green with the franchise, with football in general, and so it was a little bit bittersweet around that time. But Darrell Green, he stayed on. He did his job. He did his role, and he was beloved by everybody. From his rookie season until his very last season, he always, as he said, would be ready for that right now moment. And Darrell Green, I tell you, I know there's been a lot of fantastic corners out there, but Darrell Green was one of the best, and he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think, honestly, I think it's way past due for his number to be retired. Now, I feel like when players' numbers are retired, you kind of have to take that with, don't just go willy nilly and just retire all the numbers of your favorite players. Obviously, I don't think that is necessarily the best thing, because eventually, of course, you're going to run out of numbers. But number 44, I don't think is retired. I could be wrong, but I don't think they retired John Riggins' number. I think that's definitely one. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but if they haven't retired his number, nobody should wear that number. John Riggins' number should definitely be retired. Darrell Green's. I know that Joe Theismann's number was not worn by anybody until Dwayne Haskins. And of course, Haskins had to get approval and permission from Joe Theismann. I think after that, I would probably tell Joe Theismann, "Hey, look, I know you really want to support these young guys, but there should be some sort of respect." Even though Joe Theismann is not a Hall of Fame quarterback, he still did a lot for the Redskins. So his number's always been kind of iffy. Of course, Sonny Jurgensen's number has been retired. I don't want to see anybody wearing number 9. Art Monk, I feel like his number should be retired. I think Art Monk did so much. Another Hall of Famer. I think you retire Art Monk's number. Certainly, you can make a case for Gary Clark or Ricky Sanders as well, but again, maybe sometimes you also have to look at it like this, kind of like how the Dallas Cowboys will do their receivers. Their top receiver always wears a special number, that number 88. And, I wonder if maybe Washington should consider that, I don't know, for number 84 maybe. Of course, Terry McLaurin, I think, is well suited with 17. I don't think he wants to give up that number. But, if there was ever a rule where they said, guess what, receivers, we don't want you wearing, teen digits anymore. You're going to have to wear more traditional wide receiver numbers in the 80s. Then, I would say then, okay, Terry McLaurin should wear number 84. Because I felt that Gary Clark was the lead wide receiver. Art Monk at that time, he was a little bit more of a possession guy. Honestly, that posse wide receiving group was probably they were probably 1A, 1B, 1C. It was really hard to differentiate between who was the lead wide receiver and who was secondary and tertiary, because the thing is, any one of those guys would have an explosive game. And you go and you double team Gary Clark, Art Monk is going to burn you. Double team Art Monk, Gary Clark's going to burn you. And then you try to double team both those guys, Ricky Sanders is going to burn you. So anyway, it's probably interesting. I would say, the one who certainly was in the Hall of Fame, Art Monk, his number probably should be the next to be retired. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video today, please give it a like, give it a share. Let me know your thoughts. Do you even like numbers being retired, or do you think that there should be a better way of honoring those numbers? Maybe like hand them out to players that are going to be special players for you. Kind of like what the Cowboys does. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Take care.